Hey there guys, today I'm working on this Still FS76. Didn't really want to start up and run, so I decided that I'd take a look at the carburetor, and so I noticed a couple of things here. This one here is what I assume is the factory original. It is it's a Walboro brand, and I have here the Chinese counterpart. I figured I'd order one and see what all the differences were. They are pretty cheap. I got that one for about $12 with a couple other goodies. So overall it seems about the same, but there is a couple of differences. Mostly there's a lot less material. The intake side of the carburetor is larger on the Chinese carburetor, although there is a ridge or a step right there. It's not finished poorly, but on the Walboro carburetor, it's very nice. There's not a whole lot of turbulence, so you would assume that would work better for at least air velocity. So a couple of the problems here. This is about as hard as it can be. This thing barely moves. It's supposed to be very flexible, so having problems pumping the fuel because of that. And also, it's pretty worn. That's that little lever there opens up the needle seat, so definitely have to replace that. I also got a Walboro brand. I got a Walboro branded rebuild kit for this carburetor that came in a steel box. So got that right here. It's a fairly complete kit. It even comes with the Welch plugs and filter screens. Well, one filter screen. So anyways, pretty good kit. I think I paid $14 for the kit, but if it comes with the Welch plugs, which would be this right here, then really there's nothing else you can have go wrong with these. It's just a block of aluminum with a bunch of holes drilled in it. So I figure I won't have any problems with this after I put it together with some new parts, like a real nice diaphragm for this pump. Like I said, it's supposed to be a lot more flexible than that. Let's see if I got one out here. No. I got another one out here from something else. You can see this had a rip in it, so that's why I had to replace this one, but this is about as flexible as it should be. Yep, so there's your problem. Anyways, take out the needles, and I might even take out the Welch plug. I probably won't. I'll replace that needle and seat lever, replace the diaphragm, the primer bulb. I got a whole box of primer bulbs over the internet too. So after that, she should be ready to go. I should also mention that behind the Welch plugs, there's a cavity, and at the bottom of that cavity, when you're looking on it from this way, towards the cavity, you'll see a couple of holes, and those will be down inside the throat of the carburetor, and as you open up the throttle plate, it'll uncover those ports. Then you'll get more fuel through that. So that's really the only way to clean those ports 100%. But it's pretty rare to get anything in there, especially since you get this little filter. It's like a little basket filter, very small, about the size of the Welch plug. But anyways, that seems to catch most anything that gets into the carburetor through the primary fuel filter in the fuel tank. So there's that. Alrighty, well, I mentioned that the diaphragm was the main problem, along with the needle and seat lever, but I had to actually pry the needle out. Looks like it's covered in some kind of oxidation, coating peeled off and jammed it up. So, like I said, I've got another one, and I'm also going to replace this screen. Mostly because it fell on the ground. So there's that. And also, this is the new diaphragm. Really nice and flexible. Now, one thing I'll mention is this kit does not come with that spring, and it does not come with a factory primer bulb of any kind. So if you need a primer bulb, then you're left to ordering that separately or going to a mower shop or something like that. And the problem with that is it's the smaller size, which is hard to come by unless you actually know that you're looking for the smaller one. Then you'll try to order one and get the wrong one. Then you'll go somewhere and try to get another wrong one. So that's the only thing about this setup here. With these bigger ones, you just can't get them to seat on there. They're not that much different. You can get them to seat in here. This is the other one I had in there. You can see it's the wrong size. It's ballooned because it's constricted in the middle there. So, I mean, it works. It seals, but it'd be nice to get the right one. The other thing about this kit that I got is came with fuel filter, spark plug, air filter, front and rear gasket for the carburetor, and this fuel line. The fuel line that I have on here is just some regular old Tygon tubing, and that might be a still rubber grommet, or might even be an Echo rubber grommet. I don't know. Maybe someone out there knows, but yeah. So I guess you could use either one. I'm gonna stick with the rubber grommet that's there. This right here is one piece. So, yep. Okay, well, I got the needle in there, and I got the needle and seat lever. The seat seal is built into the needle. Even though it looks silver like the rest of it, the tip of it is rubber, or, well, some kind of rubber. So, anyways, you want it to move freely. You want it to actually move the needle up and down, and you want the tip of this to be about level with this raised little partial U there, and that should get you in a pretty good range to where you can tune it with high and low speed jets after you get it started. There you go, I got my diaphragm on there, and I have my fiber material spacer on. Up next, we're going to put this plate on here. And after that, here comes the primer bulb. Now, one thing I want to mention here is that you can see that hole there. That's meant to be open. This hole right there. Regardless of whether or not you have this style or the kind that just has a flat metal plate that's silver, it just covers up this diaphragm. There always has to be a hole there, so that way this diaphragm can move and not have pressure on this side or vacuum on this side. Okay, and there you can see where that port vents to. So, if your carburetor gets just too dirty on the outside, then it probably won't run right, just because of that. Always want to make sure this is nice and clean. Now, also on the old, what I call this is the reed valve diaphragm or something like that. But anyways, if these little pieces here are not flexible, then it will not seal on the face of the carburetor, and they're designed to be little valves, so it will not run right if these don't seal. So this also has to be in good shape and nice and flexible. So once again, first you put this on, and then you put that piece on, that spacer. Okay, so that's it. So probably the best way that I know of to test a primer bulb assembly is to just try it without any lines on it. If it's any good, it's going to make a noise like that. Or you could have some hoses hooked up to it and pump some fluid. And if it makes it through, then it should be fine. Or you could put your finger over the ports, and one side should stick your finger and the other side should try to push your finger off when you push the bulb. So those are about the only ways I know of. Alright, well, I reinstalled that carburetor, and the weed whacker ran great, no problems. So anyways, that K20-WAT is the part numbers for this repair kit, and so it's very universal. I went up with a lot of diaphragms and spacers and lots of stuff left over. It only came with one main pump diaphragm though. That'd be nice if it came with a couple of those. Can't win them all, I guess. But either way, runs great. And I will mention that I did not take the primer bulb off the top of this. This plate is different too. It doesn't have the notches in each side like the other one does, and the primer bulb is just not the right size, so not quite sure why they decided to go with such a small primer bulb, but I've seen that on other stuff too, not just this. I don't know where I'm going to find a whole bunch of those tiny primer bulbs, but I'm going to have to. So there you go.